And a top Ukrainian official says at least 40 people have been killed and dozens more have been injured in the attack so far as Ukraine vows to fight back. Let's bring in ABC News security contributor Colonel Steve Ganyard along with John Cipher, a former member of the CIA Senior Intelligence Service, for more on this. John, I'd like to start with you. What effect have suspected Russian cyber attacks had on Ukraine's defense capabilities so far?
Well, frankly, Vladimir Putin has been trying to undermine the Ukrainian government for at least the last 8 years and certainly before. So Ukraine has probably been under more cyber attacks, disinformation, subversion, sabotage than almost any country in the world. In fact, before our 2016 election, many of the things that ended up happening to us were tested in Ukraine first. So now, of course, now that there's outright war, they can just spin those things up and really push to try to destabilize and just shut down their banking and their communication system and all sorts of things. So they're under relentless pressure and have been for a long time.
Now, Steve, Russian separatists claim that their forces are taking over Ukrainian government-controlled territories. How quickly has this Russian attack progressed so far?
We still need to see the concrete evidence on the ground, Diane. We know, at least this morning, the best information that we're getting from on what's going on the ground is that the Russians have said that they have attacked 74 different targets. So all those explosions overnight were to go after airfields. They hit 11 airfields. They hit 3 command and control centers, and they are hitting depots, ammunition depots, military cantonment areas. So we know that what the Russians are trying to do is degrade the ability of the Ukrainian military to resupply itself. They now control the air because all of the air defenses have been taken down and many aircraft destroyed in their bunkers. So at this point, it's a sort of a step-by-step, own the air, take the military ability away from the Ukrainian government, and then go in and finish up whatever it is Mr. Putin intends to do.
And John, Russia says it's establishing military censorship of media, warning that all Russian media outlets are required to use information exclusively from official Russian sources while covering the attack. We heard James Longman talking about this. So how is that different from the Kremlin's normal control over Russian media? And how do you think that could affect how this all unfolds, particularly given Putin's interest in what his own people think?
Yeah, I don't think it's much different than before. I think it's a reminder to people that there's consequences. And in the last year, Putin's repression has actually stepped up quite a bit. Many more people have been arrested, journalists, much more repression, killing opposition figures, all these type of things. So no, it's not very different. Russian people have been getting a steady stream of misinformation, disinformation, and clear messages not to try to influence or protest against the government. So I think it's more of a reminder than it is anything new.
And Steve, what do you think Putin's goals are in the coming days and weeks?
Yeah, that is the $64,000 question, Diane. We're going to watch what goes on the ground. So there are a couple things that we know that Mr. Putin wants. One, he wants to bring down the duly elected government in Kiev. And so how he does that is the real question. We know that troops are moving in from the north, likely to encircle Kiev and strangle Kiev. But we've also seen significant movements in the east and in the south. And so these movements that are on the outskirts of Ukraine seem to be moving inward towards the Dnieper River. So this would suggest that Mr. Putin intends to take about a third of the country, all of the east up to the Dnieper River, and from there he can control much of the economic lifelines, whether it's natural gas or the trade that goes on with agriculture coming down the Dnieper. So those are the things that we're seeing, at least right now on the ground, that would suggest what his intent is. But ultimately, hopefully somebody will step in here and try to begin negotiations, and we'll try to get Mr. Putin and the Russians out there quickly, which he has said, we are not there to stay. So we'll see whether his word is true here.
And John, Ukraine's president actually put out a call to arms on Twitter saying, we will give weapons to anyone who wants to defend the country. Be ready to support Ukraine in the squares of our city. So what kind of resistance can they mount with an effort like that? And will intelligence agencies work with Ukraine to coordinate that resistance?
So several questions there. I think Zelensky, sort of came to this late, but seems to be doing a good job of sort of communicating with his people now. What can it mean? If Russian troops try to hold territory, I think they're looking to create a serious insurgency. And there's a long history of Ukrainians trying to fight back against Russian and other oppression and Nazi oppression during World War II. The problem is, as Steve mentioned, is they don't necessarily have to come in and hold ground. They can use missiles, they can use air attacks, they can use all these intelligence and covert attacks. So it remains to be seen whether that kind of insurgency matters at this point. But certainly for the long term, it does, because if Ukraine seeks never to give in to being part of Russia or being a Russian satrap, then there will be continued sort of low intensity conflict for a long, long time.
All right, Steve Ganyard and John Seifer, great to have you both. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.